Well, not everyone is happy about President-elect Donald Trump's picks for his cabinet. But what do these folks actually do, and how does it affect all of us? Not to worry, we've got you covered with this because Shari is joining us to break it all down. Let's begin with the actual cabinet and the nominations that have been made. Who's been nominated, and exactly what do they do to help govern?
Sure. Well, the cabinet actually consists of the vice president, the attorney general, and then 15 heads of executive departments. And it was established by the Constitution, but fairly loosely. The Constitution essentially says the cabinet will advise the president, and also these folks are actually in the order of succession if something happens to the president. Now, George Washington obviously had the first cabinet, which only had 4 members. It included Thomas Jefferson and Alexander Hamilton, and a lot of the precedent that we follow today for what the cabinet does and how they operate was established by how it actually worked as opposed to in the Constitution.
But there's been some controversy over some of these nominations.
Right.
Let's talk a little bit about that. First, let's start with why.
Well, it's a political process. So, for example, the president nominates the cabinet members, but then the Senate has to approve them. Now, Alexander Hamilton, for example, was approved in a matter of minutes by unanimous vote, but obviously the process is a lot more politicized today. But the other reasons generally fall into 2 buckets. Either the policy ideas or the opinions and actions and affiliations a nominee has had, or the nominee's qualifications. So, for example, Tom Price, who's nominated for Health and Human Services, is controversial because of his opinions about trying to eliminate Obamacare and trying to protect doctors. His background is as a doctor. Rex Tillerson, the nominee for Department of State, is controversial because of his affiliations with Vladimir Putin. Ben Carson, on the other hand, is controversial because of his qualifications. He's been nominated to head the Department of Housing and Urban Development, but he actually has very little experience with housing.
But, you know, some of these cabinet choices, I know somebody at home, perhaps with a government course right now, is saying, is it a done deal? I mean, there may be some controversy that we're talking about, oh, but they'll get in. But that's not always.
It's not they're not a done deal. For the most part, nominees are approved, but sometimes not. But the thing that we want to watch as citizens is what the tone and priority of these folks who are nominated are. For example, if you've got a major surgery coming up or a medical procedure that you need to get done, Roxanne, we know that 20 million people have gotten coverage under Obamacare who didn't have coverage before. It's far less than perfect, but at least it's a given. It's the devil we know. So you might want to go ahead and have that procedure done before someone gets into a cabinet position who's already said he's planning on changing that. We don't know how those changes would play out.
Well, that's a good way to, you know, I guess, bring it home and how it's going to impact all of us as this moves forward.
Exactly.
All right, Shari, thank you so much for the insight. Appreciate it.